Hi, welcome back to McMorris Prosthetic Services. Today I wanted to talk about support groups and the importance of support groups. I know it's kind of, if you follow the old channel, it's getting a little bit redundant of probably me talking about those, but it really is just something that I find so much value in. And my backstory: when I lost my leg, I had turned 21 15 days before, and was, probably most people that knew me before would have said that I was on the cocky side or arrogant. I mean, we all could be a little humbled at 21, but I probably needed a little bit more. But when my accident happened, it was like I was like, I don't need therapy. I remember Spencer Thompson, my physical therapist, and Dr. Hansen, my doctor at the university, telling me hey, there's a counselor and you could talk to them. And I remember just being like, nah, I don't need that. I'm okay. And I was, and I am, but as time went on, I realized I would spend so much time at physical therapy in the lobby before appointments talking to other users, and then I would spend time after talking to other users that were coming out of their appointment or waiting to go in, and realize man, it's nice to talk to other people. It's nice to talk to people that I relate to, and it seems like they get a lot of benefit out of it, and I always feel good when I'm done. And then I would be in my PT sessions, and me and Spencer would talk about how there used to be a group at the university a long time ago, and it eventually kind of fizzled out because it just became kind of more of a pity party than something positive that people look forward to. And that's understandable how it gets that way. And so that group just kind of dissipated, and I was again sitting in the lobby having all these conversations, and then watching other groups go to their group. I would watch, there was a quadriplegic group, and there was a TBI group, and everything else. And so I remember me and Spencer just talking about we should start this and do it for the community. And so we did, and it's been going for almost, I don't know, since 2014, so 11 years. And some months, there's a couple people there, and other months there's 30, 40 people there. It's pretty busy, in the summer, just barely last Tuesday, there's the summer luncheon where they take July off and don't do anything during July because everybody's traveling and doing that stuff. But then in August, we all go to the park, and they provide pizza and everything like that. It's nice to get outside. And then in December, we do a potluck where we all bring something and kind of just hang out with our families. And that's the important thing too, is that it's really, it's not just for us as amputees, it's for everyone around us. Us amputating and this happening to us didn't just happen to us, it happened to everyone in our scope. And so, it's super valuable to have somewhere for my wife to go and talk to some other wives about man, Alec was pretty upset yesterday and pretty short with me because, he was dealing with phantom pain or whatever, but I would prefer if he communicated with me differently. How do you guys communicate with your husbands in moments like that, and, bounce ideas off each other and things like that? And I think that it's beneficial in a lot of ways. Like I said, I always end up leaving and feeling wow, that was really good. And I don't go all the time. And another key element to that group specifically is that Spencer has done a really good job in keeping it going, but also in making sure that it stays positive, it stays something that is valuable for the community. Because we'll go and spend the first 45 minutes ish going around the group and having a typical support group, hi, I'm Alec, and I lost my leg 12 years ago, and here's some things I'm dealing with or whatever, to kind of break the ice, especially for new people that are there. But then we'll have somebody come and spend another like 45 minutes talking about, whether a dietitian coming, talking about, how we should be nutritionally taking care of our bodies, or he's had some of his PT students present and give us like exercises that we could be focusing on at home, or a prosthetist coming and talking about new technologies, whatever it is, just something that is positive for us to take from that and get value from that. And then at the end, everyone kind of lingers as long as they want, and there's a lot of friendships that have been created, but definitely we all talk about like things that we struggle with and how we kind of battle with those, and try to give advice to those that are asking for it. Or a lot of times we're the ones, I'm looking for advice, or I get a new perspective that makes me feel comforted, and that I'm not the only one, and it helps me kind of solve a solution of whatever problem I'm facing that I probably wouldn't have had if I didn't have that other perspective. And so yeah, it's something that like in the beginning I didn't really feel like I needed, and now I'm a big believer in how beneficial they are, and I think that there should be more access to things like that. But they're difficult because it takes someone like Spencer to like really spearhead it and be committed to doing it solely for the community, because there isn't a lot of like financial or like other value out of it other than it's really beneficial to us. And so finding those people is difficult, but there's also, if you're in the Salt Lake area, there's a big demographic of amputees in Davis County and like the Ogden area, and I've really been trying to get a support group going up there for a long time and have never been able to make much progress. And then in January, when I started at Mobility, I made a relationship with the Northern Utah Rehab Hospital up there, and they have started a new amputation clinic, which is slowly getting going and really should benefit the community a ton in that area, because a lot of those people up there want to come down to our support group, but it's like 45 minutes or an hour drive depending on traffic and everything else, and a lot of amputees don't have access to that type of mobility. And so creating a support group up there has been a goal, and I think that there will be a lot of benefit to it. And so with Northern Utah Rehab Hospital, we started a support group. The first meeting was a couple weeks ago, and it was awesome. It was really great to kind of like, get in the mix up there a little bit and start building that. And their clinic is growing, and MPS will be doing more with them in the future. And there's some cool stuff on the horizon that I'm looking forward to. But having support groups and access to support groups is important. And if you're somebody that feels like, oh, I've always handled my amputation pretty well, like me, I still feel like that there, once you go, you see like, wow, that was really good, and I really did benefit from that, And also, not everyone is doing really well. Like, most of us aren't. This is really hard, and there are a lot of difficult things that you have to like approach every day and face head on. And it's really nice to go somewhere, and none of us are the same, but it's nice to go somewhere and feel like, oh, this guy knows what I'm talking about, or this lady understands how hard it is to get to the bathroom in the middle of the night. And those things, like, it does mean a lot to just communicate with somebody that understands, the struggles that you deal with. And I think that it benefits us all. And even though I was 21 and like thought I didn't need to talk about what happened to me, I am now 32 and realize that I do, and that I still need to talk about what happened to me and like continue to work through how I deal with it, because it's ever changing, and so having those resources is super, super helpful. That's it for today. See you next time.